Fishbones Glover. I was the Gig Tog.
This interview with me, Fishbones. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's took a little bit of time considering COVID kicked in.
Yeah.
The past couple of years we have been planning it, and it's just a pleasure to be here and
I'm
blown away by your
pleased you are. So.
Yeah. So you've got many stories to tell.
Well, I've got 2.5 million photos, so I've got one or two stories maybe.
So we have selected 5 pictures. So the first question, right, and it's always the first question I've asked everyone.
Yeah.
Camera brand. Do you have a camera brand, or what brand of camera do you like to use?
Canon was my weapon of choice, and that was based on the glass rather than the actual camera, because the Canon glass is supposed to be the best.
Right.
And I always said that the lens and the camera is like the eye and the brain. The brain can only process what the eye sees.
Right.
So if the eye doesn't see it very well, the brain won't process it very well. So that's why I went with Canon.
Yeah. I mean, I used a Canon recently there, and I think if you're a photographer, really, you could virtually pick up any kind of media or an instrument that can take a picture. Really, it's all about that person behind the camera.
Yeah.
In my mind, and we have a little joke, certainly between me and Steve Perks, who's a friend of yours as well.
Perky, yeah.
And we joke quite a bit about the Canon and Nikon, and the banter's quite good.
Yeah.
And I like that. So I would never say no to a Canon, but my preference is Nikon, like
Yeah.
you can see. But
Yeah.
I think the technology, and I remember seeing something about the glass being the ultimate part of a camera anyway. So,
Yeah.
and if Canon's up there long for what Nikon is.
Yeah.
But
I think things have moved on since I retired anyway, so I'm sort of a little bit out of the loop now.
Yeah.
So, but that's how I based what I was thinking.
So,
yeah.
so for people watching this right now, Fishbones Glover.
It is my real name.
Yeah. That was a question I was going to ask. And when you obviously were young and you were inspired obviously by punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously you photographed all genres of music in your career.
Yeah.
How did you get started in the photography side of things, or was it a combination of that and the music? Because I know you're a musician as well.
Yeah. Well, I've been a photographer for over 40 years.
Right.
In one form or another, varying degrees of seriousness, obviously. It's just one of them things. Oh, I'll have a go at that.
Yeah.
See, and you see a decent result, and you go, "Oh, I did that. That's all right.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could do better." Because any photographer that's happy with the work isn't a photographer. Because it doesn't matter what shot you get.
Yeah.
You can always do better. And I've always gone along them lines. Don't get complacent, because I see so many, especially on social media, where it's like a cure for insomnia, some of the shots. And I'm not going to name names, because that's well, it is my thing, but I'm not going to. Well, I mean, the people who I'm talking about know who they are. And it's like, they do a lot of shots, there's no variance to what they've done. It's like a flick book. Do you know a flick book?
Yeah.
And where they got a guy with a guitar like this, and then the next shot is the guitar like that,
Right.
and then he's like that, and then it's like that. Change it up.
Mhm.
And then shooting the lead singer.
Mm.
I've shot that band. No, you've not. You shot the lead singer of that band. Shoot the band.
Yeah.
The drummers normally get left out,
Do.
partly because the back and the lighting's normally not great on them. But they deserve just as much as the bloody lead guy, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't seem to do that I've noticed lately, especially. Because photography is now that accessible. Everybody's got a camera in the pocket with the phone, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they take a photograph and they think they're like David Bailey or somebody.
Yeah. What was your first camera? Can you remember?
Oh, jeez. My first camera would have been probably a 126 cartridge.
Right.
You know, that was my dad's or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't specifically remember my first SLR.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I sort of do. It was probably Minolta X300.
Yeah.
Thinking about it now. But I did a lot of railway photography. When I was a kid, I liked railways and that. It's a nice, clean hobby, safe,
Yeah.
clean
Yeah.
hobby,
Yeah, we know those ones.
sort of. So I did a lot of night shots because I'm from Stoke. It's not far from Crewe. Crewe's very busy for trains.
Right.
Okay. Friday nights, mail trains, but it was night photography. You know, so what I used to bracket
Right. Yeah.
shots and write down all in a little book. What a nerd! But I used to write it down so when the photos came back, they'd all look the same. I mean, I'd shoot a whole roll on maybe 3 trains because I bracketed and note which one was the one with the right settings. Make a note of that. Keep it up here. And the more I did that, the less film I wasted.
Right. Yeah.
So I suppose that's where my photography in general comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not the coolest thing in the world, is it? When
yeah,
you know.
Well, yeah. Well, I started in wildlife, and
Mhm.
I always remember my first camera was a Kodak, one of those clicky ones, wee tiny ones. I got
Oh, yeah.
holidays,
Yeah.
and I photographed a can of. I'll try and seek the picture somewhere and I'll put it on the video. But it's a picture of a Guinness, and in the background all the school kids I was with,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm trying to think out the box type picture, and I took
Yeah,
a
yeah.
picture of a dead bird.
Oh well.
So and it's like, okay, that's where my beginning starts. We all start from everything.
Well, I mean, the thing with the railway photography is they're all very much clicked into you've got to do this and you have to do it like that. 3/4 view, full sun. And because I'm a little bit of a renegade maybe, I would be doing all sorts of strange things. I mean, I could show you examples, but this is about music, so we won't. But, and they were going, oh, that's wrong. I took a shot at Carlisle one time, and it was a lot of train spotters leaning over. I got like the back shot of these, leaning over, looking at a train coming in. This actually got printed in the railway press, this one. But I had a lot of people online saying, oh, the train's blurred though. And I said, the focus isn't the train, it's the spotters.
Right. Yeah.
That's what that photo is about. And they couldn't adjust the mind to the fact that it's not 3/4 full sun of the train. Creative, be creative. And that's one of the things in music photography that's a difficult thing, because bands on stage do one thing and it's hard to, when everybody's shot whoever it is, there's very little you can do. If they don't do anything different, there's very little you can do. But if you spot the opportunity, shoot it anyway.
Yeah.
You just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's quite an exciting thing that, I don't know if you ever got that, but when you know you've got the shot, or you've done well on that night, you get home and you start editing them and you do see the shots that you were excited about. There is some clangers that I've seen in the that I've took as well, but sometimes I can work with them.
Yeah.
So obviously you did a lot about railways, photography, trains and different things, but obviously you need a love for music. I think we all did way back in the 70s, 80s and stuff like that, with the punk era coming through.
Yeah.
Why music photography though? I mean,
fancied a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I was railway photography is so easy. There's a lot of train spotters that all disagree. I proved a point one time. It's quite a popular thing. It's one of the biggest hobbies in Britain.
Yeah.
Right. So we were waiting for this particular train, not far from here, and I was saying how easy it was, and they were all going, "Oh, it's not. It's difficult." Blah 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 blah. And I went, "Well, it is easy. I'll show you. The train's coming. I've got my mate here who's not taking any photos. If he says now, when the train gets to a certain point, I will shoot it, not looking." I held the camera behind me and he waited for him to say now, and click. It got the cover of Railways Illustrated. So when that happened, I said to the guy in particular who was really saying, "Oh no. I said, that's how easy it is."
Yeah.
So
That's
Muse.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy going down to Birmingham. Like I think I was mentioning before, we started on that particular tour. They got 5 gigs. One was Glasgow, one was Manchester, one was Birmingham, and 2 were in London. And I applied. I knew the PR for Muse. "Oh, I don't know if we can get you Glasgow." I said, "Oh, it doesn't matter then."
Yeah.
Shot them before. And she got back to me and said, "Oh yeah, I've got you. I said, "Oh, smashing," because the missus has got like 4 tickets. Us and the kids are going to go. She goes, "Ah, it's Birmingham." The day before shooting Alice Cooper, the next day in Edinburgh. I went, "Oh." But my mum was in Stoke, so I thought, if I go down and see my mum, nip off to Birmingham, and and then zip back. So Muse, it stands out in my mind. I think it's one of the 5 photos actually.
Yeah.
When I was waiting to take that shot of Matt Bellamy on his knees, there was one guy that was shooting, and he wouldn't move. You know what some of them can be like.
Yeah.
And I was standing next to him with my camera up, like it was a gun, but just polite, going, "Come on, you've taken your shot.
Yeah.
Shift now, come on." And he wasn't, and he kept looking. There were 16 of us in the pit that night, and everybody else was sort of, "Oh, God." They'd heard of me because I got a funny name, you know. Small things amuse people, don't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought, I'm not having this, so I started leaning on him and pushing him a little bit. Shoved me back. "Oh, come on, man. This isn't right." So I then took my camera up that way, so I got my elbow, and I started leaning on his ear.
Right, yeah.
And pushing. He pushed me back again. I thought, "No, don't make me. I can't." In Glasgow, all the staff know that this will happen with me if you're being a bit of a one. But I was in Birmingham, so I thought, "Well, you know what, I'm not having that. He's not going to stay on his knees playing his guitar forever. I need this shot." Put me my elbow on his ear again with the camera like this, and I just nudged him. I went, took my shot and moved out of the way.
Yeah.
Then I thought, "Oh no, not in Glasgow now.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in trouble." I looked at there's a lot of security in the pit that night. And I looked at the 2 that were either side of where I took the shot, and they both went, "Pink." Oh, thank God, they just picked this guy up and carted him out. I thought, So, but for a 3-piece, they were, Matt in particular, he's more animated than the other 2 really, but I like shooting them.
Yeah.
Because he's sort of Mikey Graham in the I just remembered. I was the only guy there at the Royal RCH, and he recognised the photographer. He played to the camera.
Right.
I mean, it's not my thing, you know, but he was very good.
It's nice when that happens sometimes.
Yeah. But he purposely and I got quite a few good shots. I thought, you know what, for a boy band person, you're all right. You know, you're not really punk and that, but I'd go for a drink with you. He sort of he knew the game, you know.
Yeah.
Russell from Sparks in the Arches. That was fun because the stage used to have the steps that come down that were actually on the barrier, so it was awkward to get from one side to the other side to shoot. You know. And every time I went one side, Russell went the other.
I know that.
I mean, it's when I could still walk, you know,
Right.
and he kept winking and laughing. So you know, that Sparks were fun. I mean, Ronald was. I got him wink and smile. Not many do that, I don't think.
No.
But I think he was enjoying the interplay between me and his brother, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, there's. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I can think of. So I'm. I better shut up, haven't I?
What's your feelings on the mobile photography thing that's starting now? The reason I'm asking is because I'm seeing myself more and more, and they talk about this Vox Box. I think it's a Vox Box to talk about, and it's like TikTok and
Right.
Snapchat.
Wow.
And doing little clips of video clips rather than and a lot of people are saying that's what it is. I just wanted to see what you think about that. Now that you're not really in the gigs.
It's a weird thing because as time progresses, phone shots are becoming more acceptable. They're becoming much better, you know, quality wise as well. You know, I've taken some great shots with my phone, but I think it's a separate thing for me. I mean, maybe I'm like a dinosaur or something.
I mean, the other reason why I'm going at that angle is recently a lot of photographers are getting turned down for applying for gigs. Or they're getting photo releases.
Right.
And they're saying that professional photographers, big cameras, cannot take a photograph of that band. However, you've got all your fans in the and they've got their phones up and different things.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, have you ever came across that with photo releases back in the day, or did you never have any issues with bands? Oh, you can't take that picture, or you must only use a professional camera.
The only issue I've had with anybody, because I was freelance based, basically, and I had my own rules that if they wouldn't play by my rules, I wouldn't play.
Yeah.
Because some of the rules, it's just like the Muse in Birmingham. There was a release for that, and there's 16 photographers, and the release went blah 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 blah. If we use any of your photographs, we will pay you the princely sum of £1.
Right, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Which sort of covered them. But there was only one photographer who still got to shoot the band that didn't sign it. Any idea who that was?
No. You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd shot them before.
Yeah, well, I'm that attitude as well. I've shot them before without releases, or I've decided, no, I'm not going to do that. Cause the thing is, a lot of them are USA, a lot of them are not legal in Europe. And
yeah.
We'll get a wee bit technical now and a little bit of your skill level.
Ooh.
Right, okay. So, or
this will be fun.
do you have any strategy when or do you have any idea when you go into a gig or a concert and you know, right, if you don't know that venue, if at Birmingham for instance, you didn't know about that lad taking his position and moving for you, or do you just go in there and just know what you're going to do, you know your craft?
Well, yeah. I pretty much, it's like with, I was saying about the trains, there's all the standard shots that you need to get before you can start thinking about, I'd rather get the job done in the bag and then wonder about being creative. I mean, it's generally relatively easy, especially big venues. If you can't get shots in big venues, what are you doing it for?
Right.
Because the lighting's normally phenomenal. So, get the job done. Shots of each member, multiple of each member, not just one. Oh, lead singer, dush, 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 dush. Drummer, dush. Lead singer, dush, dush. No. Everybody, keep it fair, you know. and then think, right, what can I do now?
Have you ever had that in the press when I first started? Photo editor we're discussing before we started the interview, and I can't get his name. Anyway, we'll not mention his name anyway. But he mentioned to me to give me some advice to be tight and bright. Have you ever heard of tight and bright before? Yeah. It was just really when you're taking a picture. A lot of cameras are now getting megapixel rate, and they can zoom in. So a lot of people are. Well, I understand. Sometimes I do it myself. I'll photograph, knowing that I'm going to crop it. Right. So I'm just wondering what your feelings on that.
That was one of the things. I used to have two camera bodies. I used to have this 2870 with the 70-200 on a different one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 5D Mark III.
Right. Yeah.
I call it the Land Rover of you know, it doesn't do what a Ferrari does, like a 1D or whatever, but it can go places that can't. It's built like a tank.
Yeah.
I've never had it serviced, ever.
Right.
Never needed to.
Right.
Whereas I know one or two people have had like 1Ds, and it's like, it's poorly all the time. Oh, it's got a poorly tummy. I can't shoot tonight because, you know, it's got sniffles. That's going, ah.
Yeah. And is it always a 20-40 70 that you've got it on? Do you use 70-200 as well? Or is there
No, that's getting back to it. I realised after a while, because the pixel rated and blah blah is so good, as long as you get it sharp, of course.
Yeah.
I think that's a requirement.
Yeah.
You can crop. So why have, you know, two cameras, cumbersome? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I had the Spider Pros, which were like belt things, click them in. No straps, couldn't do the strap thing. Especially when I was getting more poorly. It's not a thing, so instead of two, I'd just have the one. That's plenty enough.
So I've always used it, well, recently I've been using a lot of the two, and I'm starting to think to go back to one. And now you mentioned the Spider and the lenses, I'm finding that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Because we're filming this with the mirrorless, which is a Z7 II Nikon, right? But I've got a D4S Nikon. I'm finding images are much better in that one than the mirrorless, and I don't know whether it's a technique or it's my ability on the mirrorless.
See, I have no comment on the mirrorless things because that's after my time.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all. If I don't need to know, I won't know because just not that interested now.
So you're obviously based here in Scotland now, and you're from Stoke.
Yeah.
Have you photographed anywhere else in the world?
Oh no. Only the UK.
Yeah. We briefly spoke, and you're well known for a place down south called Rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me a wee bit about that Rebellion Festival?
Well, I mean, it's manic. That's 4 days, 300 bands thereabouts, 6 stages, maybe more sometimes. Swaps, changes. This year was a completely different. They had an R-Fest on the seafront rather than having it all in the Winter Gardens. So yeah, it's quite diverse. Even when it was just in the Winter Gardens, you would have things that's not punk. It doesn't have to be. You know, I mean, there's so much stuff that's punk related, or offshoots of, and so on. As it's quite all encompassing in a way, which has made it quite refreshing. And you can't. It's like with music. You can't like everybody. You can't have heard of everybody. So it's an opportunity to go, oh, I remember somebody talking about that band. I'll go and see what they're about. I'll take shots while I'm there. Discover new music. Rebellion's a decent family. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a bit more corporate these days than when I started with them, but needs must. You know, they've got to pay the bills like everybody else.
Yeah.
So you sort of get it, and you can't hold it against them because, I mean, punk attitude, to be fair, I think it's stupid. Chaos.
Yeah.
What? No. Anarchy. No. Really? Property is theft. Okay, so I'll come round your house, nick your telly, and you'll be fine with that then, will you?
Yeah.
No. So, you know, but overall, it's not punk. I mean, but back in the 70s, punk was like 18 months, if that.
Right.
it was that time, and it was pretty much really only one place, London.
Yeah.
I was there at the time, here and there, for other reasons. So I'm not that cool. I hadn't got my finger on the pulse that much. But that's how I latched onto it, basically. Saw a guy with green hair. What's going on here? You know. But punks didn't look like they do now.
Right, yeah.
Mohicans, studded jackets. They all looked like hippies.
Right, yeah.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
There was very, very few, like the Bromley contingent.
Mm-hmm.
They were odd.
Yeah.
But that's what everybody thinks punk was then.
Yeah.
No, it was about 30 people
Mm-hmm.
that looked like that, and that was it.
So I remember seeing a documentary, and I think it was Johnny Lydon made a comment, and he was having he was in a room with Ricky Ramone, I think it was. It was one of the Ramones.
Right.
I don't know one's. I'm not really genned up, but I remember one of the Ramones was there, and him and John Lydon were having an argument who started punk. Yeah, and I think John's adamant that it came from Britain, but they're saying it came from America. And I remember seeing a documentary recently saying that it all started in the USA.
Two different things.
Yeah, and basically when I look at that kind of music, it's different, because the culture, the British culture, is totally different.
Yeah.
To, your North American side of things.
I mean, the way I look at it, and people don't like this, surprise, there's only ever really been one punk. One. And that was Lydon.
Mm-hmm.
It might be different now.
Yeah.
He's got a lot on his plate now, to be fair.
Yeah.
And he seeks, knowingly as a mature man, the reactions that he tries to get now. But when he was young, the whole punk attitude, delivery, all came from him. Without Lydon, or Rotten as he,
Some people know him as.
they would have been a pub rock band.
Mm-hmm.
Good one maybe, with a different singer. They'd have been Dr. Feelgood or something,
Yeah.
who were excellent by the way,
Yeah.
but wouldn't have been a thing. It all came from Lydon.
Yeah.
And his perverse way of looking at things at the time. I mean, he's not a hero. I don't have heroes or anything, but the way he thought then, fashioned, because I was young and impressionable, of course,
Mm-hmm.
fashioned the way that I've thought ever since, pretty much.
Yeah.
Questioned everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the punk bands that are anti-police, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? What? It's stupid, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never really been fully on board with that.
Yeah.
And that sort of, the punk attitude that Lydon had is part of the attitude I had whilst taking photographs of bands, regardless who they were.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd never sign releases and what have you.
Yeah.
I'd say, they say, oh, you can't go in the pit if you haven't signed it. Okay, you don't get any photos if I don't go in. Suits me.
Because it's quite interesting as well, because when you think about the name of the festival, Rebellion,
Yeah.
the rebellions, the rebels and different things, and it's really, I've never went down, and my friend who I've been interviewed, Raymond Thompson's one of the interviewers, he's been down quite a bit, and he knows Dodd Morrison quite a bit.
Yeah, Dodd, he's a mate of mine.
Yeah, so, and I met Dodd a few times at Rewind, which you photographed as well.
Yeah.
So that's a different festival compared to things like that, because that's your pop in your 80s.
Yeah.
And I've seen some pictures of you there as well. Can you tell me any stories about Rewind and all the other type of photography you've done?
Well, Rewind was it was different.
Mm-hmm.
Not really my vibe as such.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good. The thing is, good music's good music.
Yeah.
And I like what I like, and it doesn't necessarily follow that the next person will like what I like,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't like what they do. Nobody's right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you're quite a fan of the Rewind thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I only did it a couple of times, I think it was.
Right.
And I enjoyed it for what it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's nice, good fun. like the punks, they're all harking back to the 70s. You really don't want that, you know? You don't want that at all, no. And the 80s, people look at that and they go, oh yeah, it was great, this, that and the other. But you don't want that now.
Yeah.
But it's nice to revisit it just for a short while, and that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I mean,
think the other one I go to when is Let's Rock, and Let's Rock are a good one as well. They're just a day. And they're looking at maybe upping it now into the 90s, because the 90s was such a long time ago and there's not many 90s festivals. But then if you look at the 90s music, yeah, you've got the Oasis and different bands in there blaring that, but you've also got a lot of like dances people, which I wouldn't say were so much a musician, because they're just standing there dancing and holding the mic.
Yeah.
And then for photographing them, yeah, they're nice, but
Yeah.
I don't know for you, but when I'm in a pit and I see things like that, there's one. I know we get 3 songs, but I've had one song and I'll go, nothing much else is going to happen, so I'll leave.
Yeah.
So has anything like that happened to you? Have you ever decided, oh, right, this is not happening, I'm only doing the one song, or?
I used in Rebellion in particular, because I used to say, if you can't get what you need in the first song, what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
You only stay in there longer to hopefully get a jump shot or something a little different. Or, I mean, if you're going to shoot a band, whether it's punk, rock, doesn't matter what it is, before you go, my advice is YouTube live performances. Try and look up the set lists, see which 3 songs get repeated the most, watch those on YouTube, see if they do anything. I mean, I don't know, Emily Sandé isn't going to do a jump off the drum riser, you know, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Really isn't. But you look for the thing that you want to get the photograph of first and foremost. For instance, if Phil Lynott was still alive and Thin Lizzy were playing, you'd want him legs akimbo with his bass and the light bouncing off that. That's sort of the typical photograph, or the famous photograph of him. So you'd want that.
Yeah.
But then you'd want to try and get something else.
Yeah.
So by watching performances, you look for the things that you don't see often, and see if you can get that.
Yeah.
You can't always. It's. I mean, any photographer that says they aren't lucky aren't a photographer. Another one, you know.
Yeah.
It's 50% skill and technique and all of them things, but the other 50% is luck.
Yeah.
If they don't do it, you won't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my other photos, the Jamie Cullen one, I knew he did that kind of thing.
Right.
I didn't realise to what extent he did.
Yeah.
Until I mean, he did it. I took the shot. I thought, oh, that'll be good. Until when I looked at it I went, wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very pleased with that. That's why it's one of my 5. Quick story. I would, at one point, no cropping, big lens, I'd do the headshot. I mean, seriously, just the headshot. You could count the pores, you know, or the bristles on somebody's face or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got known for that for a while. I mean, jump shots became my thing. But I got an email quite a lot of the time. I'd say 25% of the time, artists got in touch with me rather than me asking for passes. Can you come and shoot? Alison Goldfrapp got in touch one time. Said, can you come and shoot me at the Academy in Glasgow, because I want some of them headshots that you do. Oh, female. Got to be careful.
Yeah, I've been there.
I went, are you shooting? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Because, you know. She went, no, I really want you to do that. I said, you know, it shows up every crease, every it will. No, I'm fine with that. And it went on for a week or two. And in the end, I went, oh, if you're sure, okay. So, of course, they played, Goldfrapp played, and I did that. And she said, just post them, wherever you post them is fine. Just send them me as well, maybe. Oh, okay. She was furious. Absolutely fucking furious. I went, well, I did tell you,
I know.
this is not a good idea. I'm not saying you're ugly. No, I'm not saying that at all, because you were quite nice looking. She was. Well, only my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And I said, I did say this, didn't I? After that, she stopped everybody taking photographs.
Oh, yeah, that's been happening recently.
Westy blames me for that. Well, it's your fault. Well, no, it's her fault. But since she's allowed it again, but I think they're all desk shoots.
Yeah. The right check the fixes.
And I went all the way, you know, it's not a 60-mile round trip, bloody academy. Turns up for Robert Plant, got my piece of. It's great because I used to, because of my name, it stands out.
Yeah.
Not partly because I was good. I know I was good. I know that.
Yeah, you're good.
False modesty, I hate that. But anyway, I went all the way there. Everybody got the pass, and just as I was getting mine, somebody tapped on my shoulder and went, hang on, it's a note from Robert Plant. Everybody who's got a pass can have one, apart from Fishbones. Because of the headshot thing. And he didn't want me showing his age. And they made everybody else shoot from balcony as well.
Probably it's like that a lot at the moment now, and I think, yeah, you're to blame.
Well, I'm... See,
that's what rest of us say anyway.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, the photographers in particular said, oh, he's good, I'm glad he's retired, that means there's an extra pass for everybody. Because, to be fair, if there was something going on, I'd get a pass for it.
Yeah.
One way or another, they'd either insist, or I'd just ask whoever, and they go, yeah. It wasn't like that at first, though.
No, I know.
Oh, you know what it's like. It's hard slog.
Definitely is. Talk about your 5 images.
Oh,
if you can remember them, because
I can.
That's good. That's the main thing. I've got the images there, so we just need to go through them. But we'll talk before we do that. Just a couple more questions in that I've got here. We touched on projects. We'll talk about that after the 5 images. How critical are you of your own work?
I think everybody should be their worst critic. I am. I know that when I've taken a good shot, I knew that.
Yeah.
But as I said to you before we started it, you can always do better.
Yeah.
You might not think you can, but you can. It's just the opportunity, and the luck plays a massive part in that as well. If you're proficient enough with the old camera there, and you know what you're doing, that's your 50%. You've got to rely on their 50% as well. If they do the thing, then you can improve. But if a lot of bands just do the same thing over and over and over, like shoegazers, you know, or stand there, don't move at all, sing and go, thanks very much, good night, and off they go. Oh, okay. Character is what you want, and that's what you try and. That's what I always wanted to try and capture. Yes, we all know what a band looks like when they're on stage playing. And to be fair, any idiot can do that. It's catching that thing that's got some essence, more of an essence to it, that makes you. I mean, on the photograph of me being worsty, the pointy one.
Yeah, we'll get a capture of that later. So
and the above one as well.
We'll get you in the massive.
I think both of them do a very good job. I mean, it's not me taking them photos, but I think of catching a bit of an essence. You know, particularly the top one.
Yeah, that's the feature picture we've got of you on the for the trailer.
Yeah,
love that picture.
That album, Filthy Dirty, which is a member of the band. Fantastic solo album, by the way. Check it out, Filthy Dirty, The Rise and Fall of Blasphemouth. Check it out. It's
we'll do.
Fantastic. He sent me the test pressing,
so
not only have I got it in the clear red splatter, the picture disc, and the normal black one, and I think there's a red one and a blue one. He sent me that, and I wrote a review for it just for their site, and I destroyed it, absolutely destroyed it, and everybody loved it because It's like, what's his name? Brian Connolly. He could say, it's a puppet.
Yeah,
The puppet can say anything it wants.
Yeah.
It can, because they haven't done Rebellion for a few years now.
Right.
But I've been going. And the last time, not this year, the last time was 2019, I was the only member of Evil Blizzard there.
Right.
Because I went on stage on that scooter.
Right.
Which is, I don't know if you can make out my walking stick.
Yeah, I can see it.
I went on stage and and everybody came, what the fuck? Because they knew that was the album cover.
Right.
And they went, oh, why is he? And they got me bag full of signs. I'll show you them after.
Yeah.
The hold up signs. It's a thing with Evil Blizzard. Like
Yeah.
there's a guy that makes them, and he says the Osmonds have let themselves go and things like that. Because again, Evil Blizzard, you have to take the piss all the time.
Yeah.
So I go on stage with my bag of signs and my newspaper, and I start reading the newspaper. 5 minutes before they're due on, it was in it was the Casbah stage, which is the old Olympia. And even for Evil Blizzard, they're all going, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm sort of I'm looking over the paper, looking at everybody, waiting for the band to come on. And the thing was, I'd go on stage reading the paper, and they'd come on, start making a round. You know what you're doing? I'm trying to read the paper here, you know. So that went down quite well.
That's
but
good.
I don't think I'll be able to do that kind of thing. I did it 3 times. Did it in Glasgow.
Right. Yeah.
I asked all my wonderful photographer mates if they could come and capture it.
Right.
Did they?
No.
No fucker came.
Oh.
I asked them nicely after all the things.
It.
I've given people contacts before.
Yeah.
I've got people in gigs and that before because of who I know and that. I know a lot of people. Nobody came to shoot. Got phone shots of it. Ivory Blacks it was.
Right. Yeah.
I was behind. You know the piano.
Yeah.
I was behind that. So
Right.
with me signs and that. But we did Manchester Academy as well, and of course Rebellion, which
Yeah.
that was poignant for me. That because it was on. When I was a kid, I've been going to Blackpool since I was 6 weeks old. I'm adopted. And my mum and dad went on holiday, took me when I was 6 weeks. They just had delivery of me.
Right.
So I've got a long history with Blackpool. I've been every single year since. Just for a day maybe, or a weekend. Never for a holiday. Not since I was like 12 or something. So it's a big strong part of me. My favourite part of Blackpool, not the tower, not the beach, hate sand. Gets where you don't want it.
Yeah.
Is the Winter Gardens, specifically Olympia.
Right.
When I was a kid, it was an arcade. Fantastic. You know, like, I don't know whether you'll remember, but a big sort of rocket, zoom lolly shape, but 3D, where you put money in it, just a shover, like
Right,
tipping,
yeah.
but all glittery, coloured. I loved it there. And up the top there was a car ride, they were all Chevys with 4 steering wheels, 2 in the back, 2 in the... Didn't do anything, just went round on the track, and that was my favourite ride and all that. I loved it there. So, my mum and dad, more so my grandparents, used to love Blackpool. So, when I went on stage, as I was going up the ramp on my scooter to get on stage, I had a tear. Good job I got a mask on, I had a tear coming. Because I play in Blackpool, the band called it, I played it, but I just held signs up. I didn't play it. But I was thinking about my grandparents and my mum and dad, and here I am on stage in the place that I love the most in Blackpool.
Yeah.
It was, for me, it was awesome, and that's why I bang on about it so much. That was 2018.
No. I know.
But it's time for him
I mean,
to...
that's one of the questions I asked you was the best venue that you've ever worked at.
Oh, Barras.
Barras.
I like, my favourite 2 venues overall are the Barras, like the history of it. I'm quite interested at one point in serial killers, so Bible John gives Barras the edge for me. I look up at the stars and think, Bible John might have seen them, you know. And the Manchester Apollo, Because overall, venues are venues.
Yeah.
You know, I do like small ones. This is one of the things about modern day photographers. They seem to, oh, I've got a camera for my birthday. Oh, I'll get that gig at the Hydro. No, you go to Barflyer somewhere or some pokey little shithole. Like Broadcast downstairs in Broadcast or something. Work there. Do your start there. Learn your craft there.
Yeah.
With who? Local band, what? Who? No, that's not going to get my mates going, ooh. No, God, no. You know, you're not doing it for that. You're doing it to learn this.
Yeah.
And the craft of doing gigs. Anybody can go into the Hydro normally, depending on which band, some. And the lights are amazing. How can you not get photos?
Yeah.
I mean, I shot a band called Eneract in audio, metal band of some kind, 3-piece. No lights, lots of bloody smoke. Oh, there was one light.
Right.
But it was very dim, and it was blue. And guitar player and bass player, who was the singer, turned everything to face the drummer. Thanks. That's where people need to learn. I got shots in it. Another one was Drenge. Are they called Drenge? Something like that.
Yeah.
They played tuts. No lights again.
Yeah, that's just quite hard place to.
Drummer, guitarist, that's it. Side on, no lights. I got a shot, but it was only because somebody got the phone and took a flash shot. As I was luckily shooting, that's the only way I got a shot. But I got one. What would somebody new to the, you know, the photography, gig photography in particular, what would they have made of that?
Yeah.
Would they have got anything? Well, if me, after doing it for years, only got that one, I would have suggested no. Would that put them off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that typical? More typical? Yeah. The big gigs, you earn them by doing all of them. Sweaty, horrible pits. No pits. So, some of the gigs in audio, because I know Mark likes his alternative metal, all sorts of stuff. Not often very a pit in there. Yeah. That didn't come out right, did it? MS. Blame MS. Yeah. Every time I say something stupid, blame MS. But anyway, so a lot of them are like, you know, these bash around big circly pit cobblers. Yeah. And I'm there, no pit. And boom, bang, boom. I mean, I couldn't do it now. Obviously couldn't do it now.
Some of them are really high as well. I mean, I was at BST at Hyde Park.
The
Rolling Stones and Elton John. It wasn't for them, but the stage was set for them.
Yeah.
So the stage was massive. But there was fine that we had to go underneath the runway to get to the other side. And then they would say, was it the Guns of War were shooting? And they said that they could only shoot from one side. So we were like on one side and we were all huddled together. Yeah. And that's happening quite a lot. But the pits, I mean, it's the barras, you talk about the barras. I remember the barras, when the pit was really quite small. And
I loved it.
It was great, and they've changed it now, which is good as well. I mean, I'm not going to knock it, but I remember it when it was the old time.
I loved that.
You got whacked with some old scaffolding that was sitting in it, with proper cages. So, shirt get caught.
Yeah, I liked it, particularly when the MS was getting worse. I had stuff to hold on. I loved it. Absolutely adored it. And in fact, one of the employees, Paul, I still haven't got it, is supposed to have been getting me a section of the scaffold.
Right, yeah.
That's got the tape on it.
Right.
Which was sort of to go on the mantelpiece kind of thing. It'd go in here somewhere. Yeah. But I wanted a piece of that pit because that was my favourite pit by a million miles. Yeah. Million miles.
Yeah, I've got to say I'd say that'd be my favourite venue as well. And I think the old pit as well, to be fair, I mean, when I went back after it had been changed. I had a little of a gap, and when I knew pit like you, I was like, oh, I've got space, but then my t-shirt's not going to get caught, because that was my experience, because I was walking through.
Yeah.
I think I was videoing the Dogtooth, the young band that's no longer, the new band now. And I remember going in and my t-shirt get caught and I couldn't move. It was ripped. And I fell the scaffolding, but yeah, it's.
I remember Westy slipped. I think it was Westy, and he grazed, you know, on the wood. The wood he grazed all his shin and everything. It was, oh, I hate that bit. But I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, you get that with some of them. It's the same. I mean, all the venues. I mean, I quite like shooting the Nova Hydro, but I preferred the LSCCC because I shot the. Before Keith Flint passed away, I got the Prodigy in there.
Yeah.
And that's got to be one of the hardest shoots I've ever done. And I remember being stuck in there, and there were a couple of other photographers who were there.
Yeah.
Brian Anderson and Ryan Johnson and a couple of others. I spotted, and I remember it was
Peter Kaminsky.
Yeah, Peter was there as well. And I remember us all being we were all in a section.
Yeah.
With a security guard either side of us. And this security guard kept saying to me, "Don't move." I had my foot shot at the Prodigy before. And I couldn't move, because it was like because you watched the fans and then watched Prodigy.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, Keith Flint came to me
and
a couple of things, and it was really hard in the lights and the darkness and different things. But it was in the OSCCC, so it was the whole floor. And I just remember being quite distinctive, and God love him, he was away 6 or 7 months later. But these are the kind of things that I remember a lot, is the venue.
Yeah.
And the stories that you've got when you meet the punters as well, and the security, and there's a lot of good security guards out there as well that I'm quite friendly with. And then there's one thing I don't know about yourself, Fishbones, if you want to pass that message on to some other photographers, it's again is respect to the security. It's like Stuart Westwood, and I discussed it in his interview. He mentioned that as well, the fact that if they tell you to jump, you jump.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's a mutual. You earn a respect from them. They, like with my my killer elbow, for instance. I knew that. I mean, I could have elbowed everybody I wanted, you know, in most, because but I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't do it for any. But I respect when they said shift, you know. I mean, they'd got your back, and there's crowd surfers coming over, and you go, what have I done now? Oh, I see. You know, I never shot, I never shot when you weren't supposed to.
Right, yeah.
Apart from when I did. But it was normally, I'd normally end up standing with some of the DF staff or something, and when something quite, is happening, I'd nudge them and go, and they go, go on, quick. And because it was on the what's it called, the Spider Pro.
Right, yeah.
Dum.
There you go.
I'd done it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the best stuff I found for that was HMV Picture House.
Right.
I'd shoot whatever. I remember the Noisettes one time, and the missus doesn't like standing or in crowds and that, so she'd be up on the balcony. So once I'd shot, I'd just take everything up and sit with her. And lead singer, I can't remember her name, I don't want to even try and pronounce it, but she was quite distinctive looking. And there was a part where she disappeared off stage, and she turned up actually on our balcony and did some draping myself over the balcony thing while singing.
She runs about in her bare feet at times. That's been I've caught a couple of times.
Aye. So the staff that went, it's all right for you to do it. Somebody else got their camera on, they went, no. So I got afforded. Again, I think it's just because of the name. And they know that I don't kiss arse, and they respect that. But I am respectful of the rules.
Well, the 3-song rule. There is a discussion that I've read recently that they are looking at the 3-song rule, and maybe changing it in circumstances, or certainly the combination of photographers in general are asking for it to be changed because they reckon it's quite old. Because as you go through a show, maybe 10 or 15 songs, maybe the 15th song might be the song that you want to shoot. And and they might decide, right, okay, the photographers are coming in at 15 songs, so you attend for the gig, but you're there for the whole gig, but you only shoot the last song.
Yeah.
That's changing. That's noticing quite.
I've had a few odd requirements. You know, like you can't shoot anything until the 6th song, so it's 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
So they've worked up a sweat, so they look like they're doing some work or something. Or you can't shoot until the last song, or what? Or you 3 can shoot the first 3, and you 3 can shoot the next 3, and you 3 can shoot the following. What? Oh, for God's sake, really?
Yeah. Oh, there's a special thing going to happen.
Yeah.
The band's going to go and they're wanting to shoot and cover that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's happened quite a lot. It happened recently. No, a couple of, it wasn't last year at Transmit, but the year before. Which is the old Teen in the Park.
Yeah.
You'll remember. 5 pictures. What ones have you chosen? Or would you like
well, the first one that I chose was of T.V. Smith from the adverts. Now solo artist, fantastic guy. It's a mate of mine now. It was the first time I actually met him. It was in the Citrus Club, now gone, in Edinburgh, and I'd gone early to talk to Brian, the owner, about something or other, but the doors were locked. Surprised, they normally were. So I was waiting patiently, and along comes Tim walking down the street, and I went, Mr. Smith. Says, good evening, Mr. Smith, I'll be your photographer tonight. Shook his hand, and then we proceeded for half an hour to kick at the doors so they could bloody let us in. I said, don't normally do this, you know, and we formed a bond there and then, which for me was, see, I used to be thrilled by this kind of thing, and it wore off eventually because it became normal. But to be talking to one of the prime movers in the punk movement, the original punk movement, I don't mean second wave, I mean properly, the adverts, for God's sake, Tim Smith is such a songwriter as well. I mean, so anyway, we battered the door until somebody, I think only Hamish, the sound guy, was in at the time. He eventually woke up after his little snooze and let us in, and he said, Brian's not here. Oh no, I'll just hang about, wait for Brian to turn up. So Tim went off onto the stage and started tuning up and restringing and stuff, and I was sitting way over the other side. And I thought, oh, this would be a nice shot maybe. So I took a shot. The place is completely empty. I'm sitting behind the camera, of course. Tim was over there doing his, you know, pre-gig thing, and Hamish is away to the left of the photo with his feet up, waiting to do his sound work. And I thought, well, yeah, you don't see this often, you know, because there's not really, in the Citrus Club, there was never really a dressing room as such. So it got a different feel about it. And it's one of my favourite photos. It would be, of the literally millions I have taken, it is one of my top 5 from my own point of view. It's just got, Tim likes it as well. I told him about it about a couple of months ago. Said this is one of my 5 actually. Yeah. He says, oh, I remember that's when we first met, innit? I went, yeah. He said, no, I do like that photo. There's something really intimate about it. You know.
On the screen at the moment, so
so that's one, probably actually my favourite. I don't know. It depends on the mood, you know.
Well, that's it, yeah.
One day you like burgers, the next day you like pizza. You still like them both, don't you?
Definitely, yeah.
But currently, that's probably my favourite shot of all.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you chose that as the first one to chat about as well. So, moving on to the next one.
Well, the next one, let's say the Matt Bellamy, that was at Birmingham. I've already told you the story of that, haven't I? With the elbow and that. Yeah. So, what I like about that photograph is, in my mind's eye, I can see Matt doing his thing. I mean, I'm literally this close,
same distance, yeah,
doing that thing. But don't be. I mean, that's one of the things. Number one is obey the rules.
Yeah.
Rule number 2 is don't be a dick.
Yeah.
And rule number 3 is if you're going to be a dick, make sure Fishbones isn't in the pit.
Yeah.
Because you will get found out. But I don't know whether Matt elongated his solo.
Right. Just to give you that shot.
Just well, I don't. Sometimes the players are very aware of what's going on, and other times they're completely oblivious.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have thought really that he would have done that. But it did seem. I know Muse quite well, and it did seem to go on a lot longer than it normally did.
Perfect.
But there was another 14. There was Mr. Squash Nose, me, and then the other 14 all wanted this shot. I don't think they all got it.
Right. Yeah.
But there was. I mean, I only took maybe 2 or 3.
Right.
And shifted, because that's what you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't hog anything. That's not right.
No.
I mean, quite often something like that's quite fleeting, you know. And photographers can be incredibly selfish.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've got a knack of shooting with both my eyes open now. I never used to do that, so I'm always, the reason I did that is because I'm aware of people around me. And if somebody's behind me, or I'll do the tap on the shoulder as well, but very gently.
I had one instance when I was shooting Skindred.
Right. Yeah.
In the academy, and they come on stage to AC/DC's Thunderstruck.
Right.
And they play the whole thing before they come out. So Skindred come out. First song, click, click, click. Second song, click, click, click. Third song's just about to start. All the stuff going out. No, first 3. This is third. No, it's not. They aren't looking at the stage when the intro music of AC/DC's Thunderstruck.
Yeah,
they're looking at. They thought, mistakenly, of course, that the third song was the fourth because they'd already heard 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Right, that's it. Out.
It's happening quite a lot because you see that in the pit. A lot of people look at each other, and the PR sometimes are there to help us.
Yeah.
And even they're going, and then you just get going, don't know, especially DJs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Chemical Brothers or something like that, and you're like, right, that's a song. No, it's not. Just constant.
There was one as well, Glenn Hughes.
Oh right, yeah, photographed Glenn.
ABC. He's good to shoot. He pulls faces and shapes and all sorts, And there was just me and some woman that had flown in from Germany, I think. We didn't really do much chatting. She wasn't very fluent in English and I can't speak German. Before, anyway, on he comes, in we go. She pulls out 2 little compact cameras with flash and starts shooting. I don't know, she actually did it. She was actually just going click, 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 click. And I'm looking at her going, what? Ah, well, never mind, whatever. She'd got a pass and everything. So I'm going click, 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 click. Halfway through the first song, he starts going, not at me, at her. And I sort of smirked to myself going, well, there you go, flash is going off. She's maybe new at it, I don't know what's going on here. And security come in with the PR guy and they drag her away. And I'm going, oh, okay, whatever. Just me then. Click, click, click. And then he's pointing at me. And he points at his PR guy. And I go, hang on, I've got my pass. I used to stick them on, but I ended up having a lanyard. But hang on, what's going on? And that was that. Fortunately, as I was saying to you before, in Rebellion I'd be in for 1 song, if that.
Right.
Because you could get what you needed. If it was generic punk rock or generic rock band or whatever, once you go click, 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 you're done. You know they're not going to do anything else.
Well, that's the thing, if you do your research, like you say, look through the YouTube videos, different things, you'll know.
So with Glenn Hughes on that day, he'd already done it. He seems to go mental in the first song with all these shapes and go, hey, look, I'm here. He's got quite the ego as well. And fortunately he'd done all of that and I got it. I went, oh, okay, I've got what I need, I'm going then.
Your third photograph.
Right, so we got the matte one done.
Yeah.
Let's think. Oh, maybe the Casualties at Rebellion.
Right. Yeah.
That's the Mohican jumping.
Right. Yeah.
With
yeah.
the drummer underneath him.
Mhm.
Jump shots. They always look. Ooh. Especially if you pull them off. I mean, you're at the mercy of the lights again. And the settings that you're using. I mean, if you go in with your certain expectations of what the light's going to be, you should be okay with that. Sometimes it's not what you thought, sometimes it's more than. And I knew that this particular band did a few interesting things here and there, particularly jumps. I mean, that seems to be a punk thing now. Never used to be. Not back in the day. But anyway. And I saw him he'd put his foot up on the drum riser once or twice prior, and I thought, I know what he's after. He's after a leg up to jump.
Yeah.
You know? So we'll just keep an eye on that guy. I got all the other guys, and I just stood there waiting, and maybe it was 2 or 3 songs. I thought, no, I'm not going, because the Rebellion photographers quite often could stay in beyond 3.
Right. Not
everybody could. There's various levels of passes that you could get for that. The house photographers could pretty much do what they wanted at one point. You can't now. Mm-hmm. But you could at one point. And I thought, I'll just hang about and see if he does that. I think we maybe got into the 5th song, and I saw him doing it again. I thought, here we go, this is the one. And as soon as I saw it more than just a foot up on the riser, it was more of a lurch upwards to do the jump. Leap up.
Yeah.
Oh, toosh, just the one shot. Mm-hmm. I was really lucky. See, look. Oh no, sorry. I'm incredibly skillful and got it perfect. No, it's just luck. But the fact that the drummer's underneath him, and he's got his legs akimbo and everything, and it's quite apparent that they're a punk band, I quite like that because of that. The lighting, it's okay. It could have been better. Mm-hmm. But then, if you get stadium lighting, for instance, it can look a little bit too, what's the word I'm looking for? Clinical.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no colour or nothing there. Like,
yeah.
That meant to try and create the atmosphere.
Yeah. It can detract from it.
Yeah.
So I quite like that because, I mean, I got loads and loads and loads of jump shots. But that one, when you say there's 2 that stick out, and I'll be talking about one in a minute, I'm sure. Yeah. But yeah. How many have we talked about now?
3.
3. So
we've got 2 to go.
2 to go.
So we're getting your 4th one.
Oh, I know. It's got my sign. It's the one. My mate Mark, the drummer, the leader of Evil Blizzard. Mm-hmm. That one was taken at my last ever shoot.
Right.
Rebellion, the year before, they changed the way that the photographers work, because I was getting more doddery and less able to walk about and that. Instead of being this stage, that stage, the other stage, all over the place, like with the other house photographers, they assigned 2 photographers to each stage, so I didn't have to run about. Right. And they gave me the Empress, which is like the prime one apparently. Instead of doing the 30 to 40 bands a day over the 4 days that I used to do, I only had to do 28. I thought, brilliant, I get more time off, can rest a bit in between. Me and Phil Newell, who was my partner for that, we were doing alternate shoots, so I'd do this band, then go off, he'd do the next one, and so on. And I found that I couldn't actually manage the last day. I ended up doing 23, 24, something like that. And when I realised I couldn't do any more that day, I got people to cover for me, so they all got shot. That was quite important. But I realised I didn't know that was my last shoot.
Right. Yeah.
And I wanted to know, I wanted to savour the moment, because I'd been doing it for such a long time, and so bloody often. I wanted to know. And I felt really bad and stewed for ages until the following year came round. I'd retired then. But I said to Rebellion, as I was staff, I still counted as staff at the time, I think. I said, can I do Evil Blizzard, my last ever shoot? I think I explained to them why, but they said that wasn't necessary, just do whatever. So that's what I did, and of course the band knew that it was I told them that it was my last shoot. What I wanted to do Evil Blizzard so I could say Evil Blizzard ended my career. Because they thought that was quite funny, so which they did. But Steve Dunkley, who does the signs, he'd done the one that I've got there, 3 Cheers for Fishbones Glover. So as they came on, I don't think they did a song actually. Filthy Dirty just got on the mic straight away and said, "Our mate down here, Fishbones, is his last ever shoot. He's been doing Rebellion for donkey's years and he's not going to do it anymore. Let's hear it for him." And they got the crowd all chanting my name. Because I've got a funny name, people remember, they see you in the pit anyway. They know that you're sort of part of the furniture kind of thing. So that was nice. I think the missus actually videoed it on her phone as well, which is one of my favourite videos ever. Because it was the last time I did work. I had one of the staff that was shadowing me while I was doddering about. I'd got me stick, and I kept putting it down to shoot, and then picking it up, and he was sort of behind me in case I fell, because the wires and stuff that can be in the pit. And one of the signs Stephen Dunkley did was the 3 Cheers for Fishbones Glover, and the band were passing it around while they were on stage. And as I was saying before about drummers don't get shot very often compared to everybody else, when Mark held it up, I thought, oh, click, 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 that'll do. And I mean, it's purely a selfish chosen picture, that one.
Yeah. No, it's quite right.
Because it's really poignant for me.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
It makes me tear up even.
Yeah,
I think I'm
I'm
on the way a little bit now, because I did love doing the job.
Yeah.
Although towards the end it became just a job.
Yeah.
But because the circumstances of that, I mean, there's a song by Skillet. They're a Christian rock band apparently. But the songs on one of their albums, they can be taken either way. If you want to look at it religiously, so these are preachy, a bit preachy, but just purely from a rock point of view, well, yeah, that's a banging song. And there's one called Back from the Dead. And the lyrics in that, really poignant for me. Oh, this'll get me going if I'm not careful. And I had that playing in my head when I stepped into the pit, because it was a year since I'd been in the pit.
Right.
Rebellion was the last time. And everybody thought that was me. My career was dead. Here I am, back from the dead again, one last time, Yeah. So the picture of Mark holding up the 3 Cheers, with that in mind, my last ever gig, I couldn't not choose, that really.
No, definitely. I always often think it would be like when I finally decide to give it up. I often think that, but then one of the reasons behind mine. You were almost forced to give it up, really.
Well, that's the thing about it. I mean, people have said since I've stopped doing it, would you still be doing it now? Now, as sort of jaded and as I'd got, I probably would.
Yeah.
I mean, the COVID thing, I didn't have to deal with that.
Aye.
But take that out of the equation, I probably would still be doing it now. I'd be going, can we wrap this up because I've got a gig to go to? Yeah. Probably would.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It's really difficult to say, because do I miss it? Sometimes, yes, more than anything. Most of the time, not at all.
Some a lot of careers when you retire from them, because basically you've retired from it.
Yeah.
And we always, because I'm retired from my profession, what I normally do, and I'm feeling it a little bit. And there's bits of the job that I don't miss, and there's bits of the job that I do miss.
Aye.
And yeah, I get a bit disillusioned with the music photography as well, because I enjoy the photography. I mean, you can still take pictures of it, I'd assume, within reason.
Yeah.
It's the almost getting to the gig, being in the pit.
Yeah.
Working because I'm recently finding that I'm getting a lot of back pain. When I'm standing there, and a lot of photographers will not realise it, but I'm really struggling right in the centre of my back. I don't know if it's the posture or different things, or we're sitting at computers all the time.
Yeah.
So it's you need to be physically fit to do music photography.
Well, you sort of do. I mean, one of the things I did think about is, well, okay, I can't do that now. That's ridiculous. But in the past, I wish I'd have done it now. Always say live life to regret what you have done, not what you haven't. But there's always things that you still haven't done, and you do regret them. I have had the opportunity to go backstage beforehand and do portrait shots of people, and I've gone, oh no, I've got to travel 30 miles into town, and there won't be enough time. You'll be getting ready for the gig, blah blah blah. So I wish I'd have done that. So I'm thinking, I could still do that now. Because there's no, as long as I could get access for my scooter or something.
Yeah.
I could, do that. But I don't miss all the getting in touch with PR, explaining, well, I've got this website, what have you, the other website, I shoot for this business, well, I shoot for me, but I don't miss any of that. Yeah. And sometimes the toing and froing that can go, well, why should we? And I don't miss
deadlines
that.
As well. Deadlines as well.
Exactly that. And then coming back and having to edit the things. God. So I don't miss that at all. So although I could still do that, and because 80% of my shooting in the Central Belt was Glasgow. Edinburgh was very much the poor cousin in that respect. Now I can't drive now. It would inconvenience Alison. And after a day at work, even though she works from home now, I couldn't do that. If I could do it independently, I was only knackering me out. But I don't want to put anybody else out purely because I got the chance to do this. It doesn't matter.
So going to your very last image, can you remember when that was?
Oh, I definitely can remember the very last.
When we discussed about all this, and I'm glad you remember.
It's the last one is the shot that I took of Jamie Cullum.
Right.
Not very rock and roll, eh?
No.
Jazz pianist. Yeah. What's he do? Play the piano, stand up and sing. Yeah, well he does. Yeah. But what else does he do? He does a lot. When I looked into it before I shot him, I had a funny feeling I'd seen him on TV do some of the things. I thought, well, I'll double check that. And I did a bit of YouTube and I went, haha. Oh, it'd be good if he did that, or I hope he does this, or what have you. And one of the things, of course, what he does is he stands on his piano. Piano. I'm from Stoke. So what does he do? Does he just get off, side saddle type of thing? No, he jumps off. Okay, look out for that. That'll be good if you could get that. Now I got my bigger lens on because it was Usher Hall.
Right, yeah.
And I think there was only me and Alan Rennie in.
Right, yeah.
I don't recall seeing anybody else.
Yeah, Alan's quite there a lot.
Yeah. And we were only allowed to shoot from around the perimeter of the audience. None of this down the front business. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I'd got my 70-200 on. I'm glad I had, and I hadn't got a bigger one. Ooh, that sounds... We won't go there.
Yeah.
I hadn't got the larger lens that Alan had got on. He'd got his 100 to 400,
Yeah, I think he's got
or
that,
a straight 400. I can't remember.
I've got 600, but yeah, he's got.
Oh, I'm bragging now, eh?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I thought, well, I'll just edge back a little bit. I think we were halfway. Both of us were halfway back up the audience, kind of thing. And he was playing his piano, and then he stood up and he grabbed the mic, and he's still playing with one hand, you know. And then he took the mic. I thought, oh, he's going to get on his piano now, and he did. So I zoomed back to, not zoomed. Is it de-zoomed? Whatever. To 70 rather than 200. And he went, poof! I went, oh, click. Now in the photograph you'll see that he's holding the mic above his head, and it's just within the frame,
Right, yeah.
just. And of course he looks like he's got no legs below the knees, because he's got them tucked up behind him, which then gives the illusion of him being far higher, or is he, than he actually was. It was some jump, and fortunately, if I'd have got Alan's, he didn't get it, because he got his bigger lens on, and he would have been completely out of shot. I mean, I've got another one of a band at the Hydro that the guy knew something they were called. He chucked his guitar up in the air, and seriously, it was like mental.
Yeah.
And my shot has got him looking up. The guitar, you can see the wire going up. The guitar's not in the shot.
Right, yeah.
But the shadow of his guitar is on the backdrop.
Yeah, that's good.
And I thought, oh, that'll do.
That's good.
You know, so the Jamie Cullum jumping, I was exceptionally pleased with that.
Yeah.
Because it proves that if you do research, you can sort of know what's coming. Maybe not exactly when, but you know it's coming, and you can take measures to be able to capture it. Yeah. If I hadn't have done that, I would have probably been zoomed in 200 on him playing his thing, trying to get the headshot or something. And then he suddenly goes boing, and I'd have been cursing. So again, luck, but a bit of research gave me that luck.
Yeah.
You know.
So we're getting near the end of the interview, so you'll be glad to hear.
Well, I don't mind.
You enjoyed it so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've took a wee break. It's just we've got a couple more questions, and that's all your 5 images.
Right.
You mentioned to me about some projects. Do you have any other projects on the way that you want to still do, and you can do?
Well, that's an interesting thing. I mean, projects as such. Westy's coming to take my portrait.
Right, that were good.
Shots that will be Worsty the Clown in hopefully two different outfits. The album cover outfit and one of the stage ones.
Yeah.
The Evil Blizzard suit one. Yeah. And then just a bog standard portrait, but that's not my project so much as his.
Right,
you know.
Yeah.
But I'm part of it because I'm sure he's doing a few people.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. So
I think as photographers we always look for projects. That's one of mine is the interviewing different things and taking just snapshot pictures. Photography.
I mean, I'm going to enjoy that one with Westy because A, he's a mate anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him for quite a while, and it's like when you're talking to people you don't really know particularly. If you say I want this, and can you make me look like this, or I mean, he'll take it on board and do his best. I mean, in my book, he's by far the best photographer in Scotland.
Yeah.
By far, it used to be me. No.
He's got his place now.
It's our little joke that, but no, by far and away.
You're right, because in his interview, if you noticed that me and him chat about that, who I looked at the time when I was getting into the music photography was Stuart's work. And I was one of as he said, I was one of the first ones to give him a review on his Facebook page, which I like to do that. I liked one of you as well, with your photography as well, and it's really good. It's creative, it's colourful, it's different,
varied.
It's varied as well. Steve Perks is another one.
He's very good, yeah.
I followed, I think it's much you and Steve Perks images that I've picked up quickly. Would you out of the photographers that you know, would you should think I should interview?
Well, Duncan Bryceland,
Yeah.
because everybody else that I know
Mhm.
or would be interested to hear from, you've already interviewed.
Yeah.
But Duncan would be.
Yeah.
See, I don't know any of the new crop, anything that's happened within
Right.
the last, well, 6 years.
Yeah. 6 years.
I don't. I mean, you know how things. It's like when you have to passes for whoever, and you go, oh, I know the PR. Oh no, they're not the PR anymore. They
Yeah.
change all the time. So I would imagine, apart from a few stalwarts, I would have been one. Westy's one.
Mhm.
Duncan's another. Pete Kaminsky.
Yeah.
Everybody else has sort of been in and out, disappeared, come back.
Yeah.
So outside of the core
Mhm.
of the crew in Glasgow, let's say,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody, so
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
actually suggest.
Yeah. Well, that's good, no, because I've asked Duncan and he'll probably be thinking about it, but that was again way back in 2018-19
Mhm.
times when I
Yeah.
started the project, and then
Yeah.
obviously COVID came in, so another chance to go back, and Steve Pitts was on the trailer. I need to go back and speak to Steve because
Yeah.
he's a bit busy with his different projects and
Oh,
little
yeah, yeah.
business ventures that he's doing at the moment.
I took his portrait when we were at Rewind, when he was sitting in a director's chair. I think it said level 42 on it.
Yeah,
With him being
a
a-
big level 42.
I know.
Yeah.
Or it might have said Mark King, I'm not sure now, I can't remember. But anyway, I took that for him,
Yeah.
which I'm sure he enjoyed. So
It's like one of the photographer friends of mine that's in the circuit that I've met through Lightroom, Martin Shaw,
right.
took a picture of me, and I'll put it up in the video. It's with the real thing who I've worked with quite a lot, and I'm the only person in the pit, and at the background you've got all the fans, and I'm just standing there in the middle taking my picture of Chris
Aye.
and Dave. And that meant a lot to me as well, and it's nice when other photographers do that for you.
Aye.
Take photographs of each other,
Yeah,
working their craft.
yeah.
And I've got a massive big picture of that on my wall. I spoke to Martin before I got it printed. I asked his permission, can I get this printed up?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Go on, and he's one of the guys that I'd like to interview as well.
Yeah.
From that era as well.
Well, that was sort of a habit I picked up from railway photography, because there's a lot of characters that do that. They're just not quite as interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Some are.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I stood out a little bit in the train spotters world. I have no idea why. But I think they were all scared of that, you know.
Yeah.
But they used to call it, oh, he's been fishing again.
Right.
I'd got the name way before then.
Right.
That's another. But so I just, with me doing that, waiting for the train, click, I'd wait, see all the guys and go, oh, click, click. And so I do it at gigs as well.
Mhm.
That's why I've got lots of Westy going, oh, not again.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of thing, you know.
Hands up.
So I'm always grateful. Like say with the Flavor Flav, the one that Bart took. I'm quite grateful for that.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite photos.
Again, it holds a memory, and this is what we're
Yeah.
chatting about today. And
Yeah,
the 5 images is, yeah, you've talked thousands upon thousands of images, and it's really quite a hard thing to do. And it's also hard to be being on the other side of the camera.
yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it, but again, it's recording that memory.
Yeah.
It's another way of capturing a moment and capturing your story. So
Yeah,
that else can learn and know more about you, because I think it's important, because you're one of the biggest photographers that I followed when I started, and through the images that you got, and I never knew exactly who you were, but I seen your images, and it was through Steve Pitts that I clicked on and I seen your pictures, and I seen Stuart's.
well, I've said to the missus quite often, it's all about marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
I got apart from like the Terminator, I got known as the grumpy photographer. Or, well, you know, it's one punter one time came up to me and they said, I remember you from that gig last year. I went, what gig? You know. So you, oh yeah, we were talking about. I said, sorry, I just don't remember. And he went, oh, sure you do, sure you. I said, Luke, okay, Luke, was it one of the 4 gigs that you went that year? or was it one of the 200 that I did?
Yeah.
Remember, I talk to people while I'm there. I just can't remember. Don't be offended, whatever you do. Oh, they went, oh, you know. So I'm just telling you like it is, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Waiting for shoot Chic in the academy. I'm leaning on the barrier by the production door there. No, a bit further away. And the people queuing up to go into a meet and greet before he went on. And I look at him and they're going, oh, there he is. I mean, I look at him, oh, where he is, who is? And I turn around, there's somebody standing right behind you. Can we have a selfie? I'm like, you are? What? What do you mean? You're that grumpy photographer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you what? How the hell, who are you? So I had some selfies with these random people that called me the grumpy photographer, and they seemed to be very happy. It happened at Rebellion, I was telling you about that. Because of my scooter, even without the mask, they know who I am. And people were going, oh, you're that clown. I go, I deny all knowledge. Oh, we've got to do that and all, haven't we? Yeah. Oh. Deny all knowledge, nothing to do with me. Oh, you're that clown. No, I'm not. Can't get away with it. Just deny it, nothing.
I know. We might meet the clown, who knows?
Oh, you never know.
You never know. So, then, you happy? Yeah.
I mean, I could talk for bloody Britain, me.
Stuart's told you I can talk as well. When I get started, he's always telling me to shut up. But I can never shut up. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed meeting you. I'm grateful for you to have it in your space as well, which is it's not very often. And it takes a lot to get people into your space. It's
the vinyl black hole.
Oh, it's
because
amazing.
I'm
just inspired by this.
What escapes a black hole?
Oh, I know.
Nothing. Once it comes in, this is where it stays.
I need to get all my memory built up. You've inspired me, Fishbones, you really have. But thank you for having an interview.
That's alright.
I appreciate that. I hope everybody's enjoyed our little chat. There were a few things cut out. We did talk about other things, but thanks very much.
No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Been a pleasure.
Bye bye.